Hi, my name is Valeria. I work for News Monkey Belgium.
Hi, Valeria.
Hi, how are you? Good
I'm very
morning.
well, thank you. Good morning.
I'll get to it straight away. Maybe my first question is a bit straightforward. I know you read some books to prepare for your role, but did you also watch the original series?
I did watch the original series. I watched it as it came out, and I was supposed to be revising for exams at university. But I fell out of the habit of watching it, but then made a point of not catching up because I got this strong um, directive from on high, from Jeb Stewart, our showrunner, that this wasn't season 7. This was we were going to be doing our own adventure and a new saga, a new history book. So I wanted to leave space for myself to come at it with my own interpretation.
Okay, and did you have like a favorite character or maybe actor from the show?
Well, do you know what? Because I'm Harald Sigurdsson, who claims lineage,
Yeah.
um, Norwegian lineage, to Harold Finehair, and I even mention him. He gets a shout out in the first episode. So I went back and watched Peter Franzen's performance and was so proud to have him as my great grandfather. I thought he did a spectacular job. I mean, Travis leads the show so well, but it was quite special for me to feel a connection with Peter Franzen's work.
Okay. So, but you didn't reach out, or did you reach out to him or maybe other actors for advice or help?
I'm terrified of Instagram and social media. So if that came out of the blue, I'd be too worried. So I didn't. But I hope they watch and I hope they enjoy.
Okay. And well, my next questions follows up to that actually. For the fans, what can they expect from this series, Vikings Valhalla?
Well, I think that original series, if we're talking about the fans of Vikings, those first 6 series, they set the bar high in terms of their action. And so we knew we had to match that. And I think we do. And we come at it through a different angle with Jeb Stewart as our showrunner. He's got a background in feature filmmaking, Die Hard, The Fugitive. And I think what really struck me about Jeb's scripts was the pace with which they move and the narrative works really quickly. So that's quite exciting. And so I think fans will get what they love in terms of those huge action sequences. But as well, this is a really character-led show.
Yeah.
And the relationships are so important to making the audience feel this way or that way. The friendship between Leif and Harold is key. The relationship between Harold and Freydis, she provides a space where he can be vulnerable and open. And in a Viking world, that's a hard and rare thing to find. And the fellowship of those Greenlanders, and indeed of Harold, like sort of becoming part of that group to an extent as well. Those friendships and those relationships drive the show along with the action.
Yeah. Okay. And like to follow up what you said, like this high standards, like this, yeah, of course, the previous show was so popular. Like, did you feel personally the pressure of that, and how did you, uh, yeah, deal with that?
Well, I think what was very special, we had the same crew who worked on the first 6 seasons. A lot of the artistry from that world is continued in ours. The heads of hair department, makeup, yeah, DOP, all this sort of thing. So you feel held and safe in the knowledge that these guys have done it before, so they're going to guide you through it. But yeah, it didn't feel intimidating. It's an honor and a privilege to be doing a piece of work that there's already a fan base out there who are excited to see it. As an actor, that's kind of rare and something to be cherished. So yeah, I tended to see the positives as opposed to get too intimidated.
That's a good sign to see it. And can you tell me a little bit, maybe it's a cliche question, but can you tell me a little bit about the filming process and how it was in Ireland?
Yeah, it's not cliche. It's interesting because it was a pandemic. So it will be unlike any filming experience I've had before, or touch wood, hopefully we'll ever have again. Not in that way, but it was extraordinary. I mean, one of the bizarre things that happened as a result of it was that work was both a place where you went and you did your job, but it was also a social place. We were living in a different county to most of the rest of the cast. So legally, we weren't allowed to meet them outside of work. So it makes work even more special than it already is. The other thing to say about it is, I mentioned earlier, it's a fast-moving show. It's a relentless show. And for Harold and for Leif and Freydis, we've got new fights or new battle sequences. So it's kind of an endurance test as well. And that's a challenge of it, but it's also a thrill of it because you come out the other side feeling very fulfilled. You get a good night's sleep every night because you're exhausted. And yeah, to feel well stretched as an actor is really nice.
Thank you. And so what was your favorite moment from filming, or maybe favorite scene?
Yeah, this is a good question. I really enjoyed the first battle scene, which is actually the Battle of Kent, because you're in a field surrounded by your co-stars, all of whom have their own choreography, and you've watched it be rehearsed at 50% speed, you call it, in the stunt shed, and then suddenly when you're out on the battlefield going for it, it's chaotic, it's mayhem, but the adrenaline pulses through you and you can't help but feel a little bit like a real life Viking, which is pretty cool.
I cannot imagine, but sounds really cool. And maybe like the opposite of that, what was maybe the hardest moment for you to act, or maybe your hardest scene for you?
Yeah, I think, well, on like an emotional level, the series ends and Harold thinks that the ones he loves think that he betrayed them. And that's really difficult for Harold because he knows that he's done the right thing and he loves these people a lot. So I don't want to give away too much, but there's a moment of self-doubt and a feeling like everything's lost. And Harold is so clear through the series on where he wants to be, where he wants to go, and a determination that he's going to get there. And there's one flicker of a moment where it seems like maybe this ain't going to work out. And that, having been so focused as this character, to suddenly feel like the floor beneath me, beneath Harold, had opened and I was just falling, was really intense and really sort of sad. And I think testament to the kind of scripts that Jeb writes, so those moments of real drama, I felt them as Leo playing the part. So that's the emotional bit. And then the other bit is that it's cold sometimes. And there were times where you're in a river freezing and it's the middle of the night. But that sort of comes with the territory. There's not much room for complaining.
Right, thanks. And what do you hope? Like, I know there's much more to this series and the fighting scenes and the emotions. What do you hope fans will take away from this or learn from this series?
Well, yeah, I hope they just sit back and buckle up for the ride because it's going to be a hell of a journey. And I think what they'll take from it is this is a very authentic look into the Viking world. And it's fast paced and they're going to love the battles, and they're also going to fall in love with these characters who have their flaws, but also have their heroic traits. So I think there's something in there for everyone.
All right, thanks. To follow up this journey that you talked about, so we know Vikings, the original series, lasted for 6 seasons. Can we also expect 6 seasons from Vikings Valhalla?
Valeria, don't make me come after you with my axe. No, I think Jeb's spoken about it in other interviews that he has a vision that's long and unfolds, and he's got an incredible ability to hold storylines in his head that extend long into the future. So we filmed season 2, and that was very special, and we'll see what happens next.
All right, we hope we get to enjoy more of this. To talk about kind of your journey, so you've known to play in other historical series like Sanditon, so you traveled to the 1800s, World War II, 1795 with Beecham House. So my question, so I could call it like time travel instead. So I would want to ask you, what was your favorite time period to do and why?
For me as Leo, or these different worlds that I've acted?
For you as Leo, like what was the favorite time period to be?
Well, I don't think there's a favorite. I think the point to make is that I do enjoy these historical jobs because you get the chance to do some homework and buff up on some history that you otherwise wouldn't. So I read a lot of the history of the Vikings and of Canute's invasion of England and the war that essentially had been going on between the Anglo-Saxons and the Scandinavians for 100 years, and how expensive and bloody that was. And I did the same for when I was working out in India and working on Victoria as young Drummond. So doing the homework is really nice. In terms of my favorite period, I don't know. I think I'll say this. I'm very pleased that I play a prince in these Viking times because it was a pretty ruthless era. So I'm glad that I am a prince and able to survive for quite so long.
All right, thank you for your answer. So maybe about your acting, could you maybe share about some future other projects coming soon, maybe?
Well, you'll have to wait and see what's up next. But there are things that will take up my time.
Right, good to hear. Very mysterious, but we'll. Right, and I think this is my last question. Do you have maybe someone that you look up to, or something or someone that you find inspiring, or where do you get your inspiration from?
I think my family is a very big place that I always come back to. They ground me and they reassure me and they give me great advice. My mum was a very impressive lady who worked very hard for what she wanted, and I've always admired that. She was a strong female figure. And my dad gives me advice on scripts and we talk things through and is a great counsel. So as I'd say family.
Right, thanks. I don't know if we have time for one more question. I have 2 minutes. Could you maybe share a quick fun fact about behind the scenes, something funny moment about the Vikings Valhalla?
Oh God, a funny moment, a funny anecdote. I broke someone's nose. That was bad. That was a very bad moment. And that was, there was a flicker of, oh my God, have I actually just done that? But he was all right. And he lived to fight another day. The stunt team are incredible. And sometimes they take hits for the team. So that was bad.
All right. Thank you for telling me that. And can you share what scene that was or not?
No, I don't want you to look out for it.
Okay. Thanks anyway. That were all my questions. So thank you so much for chatting with me, answering my questions. And I hope you enjoy the rest of the interviews.
Thanks very much.
Thank you so much.